Give you a little dialogue on your screen that you can get up. Guys, welcome to the very first episode of what I am calling I Did It with Gary. I'm very lucky to be joined today by the wonderful Emma Bareham, who is
Hey.
one of the first people to have signed up to my new online training service back in November. So me and Emma are going to sit down a little bit today, talk about what we've got done over the last 3 months, a little bit about what the future holds for her and some of her wins and losses. Welcome in. Welcome to this new
Thanks for
thing.
having me.
Like we've been saying before, this is my first run at this. It's very much intended to kind of give people a picture and an idea of what this process looks like and the real value therein. A lot of people come into a process like this with a lot of misconceptions or preconceptions with what it could be, but I think we can agree between the two of us, we've seen a lot of success this month doing it this way, and maybe even, I dare say, more than we might have expected, both of us coming into this process. Um, so, first of all, who is Emma Bareham? I'm going to give you a little introduction, give people an insight as to kind of
Yes.
what you're about and kind of what brought you to this process in the first place. So, bear with me. And this is where I do a little bit of creative editing and cut out the
Yeah.
bits. All right, so Emma is 29. You're still 29, Em?
I'm 29 at the moment.
All right, Emma is a paramedic. She lives around the Medway, Sittingbourne area. Now, when you first came into this process, kind of, although what we've achieved since has been significant weight loss and stuff, you didn't actually come into this process with those specific goals in terms of weight loss. In fact, what you told me that you wanted to do was get a little bit stronger in terms of what you're doing at the gym and kind of get your mojo back in terms of that. And you do fitness testing as at work as part of you being a paramedic. So just in terms of as we entered this process, give me a little bit of an idea of what you were doing and where maybe it was not quite right for you that made you, I don't know, come in to want to kind of try this new way of training.
Yeah, I think before I'd spoken to a few people that go to the gym and they give me some tips, but I didn't really have that specific guidance from somebody. So I had my own little gym program, but I kind of got stuck with it is the same exercises and I didn't really know how to change it up. So it was getting quite boring quite quickly. So I just thought, you know what, I need to do something about this. I was noticing when I was doing my fitness test at work, although I was passing, it was a bit of a scrape. I'm not gonna lie. So for me, I was like, well, I need to do something to keep my job ultimately.
Sure.
So for me, I was like, obviously I'd seen you in the gym. We'd had a little chat in the gym. And then I think you followed me on Instagram, and I thought, you know what, like this is what I need. I need this accountability. I need this structure. I need this guidance. So I think that's when I reached out to you and just asked what like you can offer
Mhm.
and how you can help me. And then yeah, we had our Zoom call, and then I was like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's just do it. And ultimately, the best decision I've ever made, really.
Oh, mate, that's a wonderful thing to say. I'm going to use that definitely as a quote somewhere down the line. Now, I mean, let's be honest, everyone gets the service that speaks to them most and offers the most value for them. So we kind of very much set out in the first place with the idea that it's not a one size fits all plan. It's very much something that's going to be built around you and built around the structure. But you came into this with a little bit of a structure of what you was doing in the gym, but like you said, no way to kind of really progress that. And all we did really is kind of take what you was doing and add a little bit more kind of theory to kind of back it up so that you knew you could evidence that you was progressing, that you could see that you was progressing in terms of the weight. You know, we very much ticked that box of you kind of getting stronger, but we didn't try and kind of reinvent the wheel from what you was doing. Um, Now, the reason I kind of took that approach for you specifically is to kind of give you something that you were somewhat familiar with rather than sort of trying to change everything. Like, how did that, but when you started the program versus what you was doing before, did you find that there had that continuity from one to the next, just giving you a little bit more structure?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like it was just a lot more structured than what I was doing. It was kind of, although I was doing pretty much what he's doing, like the, full body, upper body, lower body.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I had any structure in place.
Yeah. And
Maybe,
then I think what we did was we did full body push and pull, right?
Yeah,
And
that was it.
little
That
bits
was
of
it.
log.
Yeah, so it's slightly different, but yeah, I felt it worked really well.
Perfect, perfect. Now, when you come into this process, obviously, we ask you at the start of it, what potential barriers you foresee. Do you remember what you said?
I didn't I think I said working long hours.
Exactly
I can't
that.
remember what else
Okay.
I said, to be honest.
No, I mean, like it didn't appear across the process from when we was going that the working hours presented themselves as too much of a plan, and I think as too much of a pain, should I say? And I think that was probably because when you set out every week, you could see the workout set out for you, and
Yeah.
knowing that you can chop and change them around and kind of adjust the workouts accordingly to your schedule must have been like really helpful for you.
No, definitely. I kind of what I did was each week I looked at my working week and then kind of adjusted my workouts around that. Some weeks were harder than others. There's one week in my rota where I do 12-hour shifts Monday to Thursday. Now that's difficult, but I am lucky enough to have a gym at work. It doesn't have quite the equipment, obviously, we do at Snap, but it does, it does what you need to do. And at the end of the day, I could just chop and change a few exercises and just substitute them with something else that still targets that area. Just
Absolutely. I think one of the kind of main bits of value for you in terms of that adjustment is like just knowing that where maybe there's bits of kit that's not available at the gym at work that we could really quickly make those changes and make
yeah,
those adjustments if we need to do.
absolutely.
One of the, again, very much a guinea pig of this kind of process. One of the things that I found very valuable to be able to kind of communicate and help you was voice noting. So the
Yes.
ability to just kind of jump on and go, "Hey mate, like this is how you change that." I'm assuming you hadn't had that sort of support before with anything you've done in the past. Like, would you
No,
find that?
yeah, no, that's definitely like before I had tried one-on-one personal training, but this was like years and years, like a
Yeah,
long time ago. But yeah, no, it's just good because like if I had an option, if I had an issue in the gym, I could literally just message you quickly and you'd literally reply within 10 minutes. And it's great. I got that advice straight away. I didn't need to wait until the next week to catch up with you. Do you know what I mean? It was there and then. Although I wasn't very good at voice notes myself. But do you know what? From like your perspective, it worked well, I think. Like for me, it was quick and it just, you was able to get across the point without having to type it all out. So it worked well.
yeah. I mean, you raise a good point actually, and it's kind of a lot of the genesis of why I started doing things this way. Going, and I think we spoke about it a little bit at length when we first met, is that the problem I was having with doing personal training is that because of that, it's all into that 1 hour out of that 168 week. And you almost as a client feel guilty about reaching out and going, "Oh mate, can you, there's this other fucking problem that I'd forgot to mention on Monday and
Yeah.
like this is that's how we adjust that." So with the online program, obviously it gives me the leeway to give that day-to-day support, to see you in the gym, to take pap videos of you and see what you're doing and kind of show you getting that progress and show you that actually you've got that support day to day. Again, I'll keep saying it. You were the first one to kind of jump on. I almost put out the service earlier than I had intended to because off the back of like yourself and Holly and the people that kind of jumped on for that first month. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the point of view, my point of view, it's like I'm suddenly really able to genuinely help people, and it's like when you've got a question and you don't get a reply for 6, 7, 8 hours, sometimes till the next day, it kind of takes you away from the issue you had. Whereas if we try and solve immediately, it kind of means there's no barriers, there's no humps, there's no issues that kind of can get in the way because we just try and solve and we just try and figure it out straight away. Let's talk numbers. Okay. So we present this, or I present this service as a 3 month buy-in. So I get everyone to agree, anyone who comes into it, to commit to a minimum of 3 months. And again, we was very sort of real about sort of that would look like, and actually that if you decided that you were happy with the results you got and happy with the progress you made and the knowledge you'd gained in 3 months, that I'd have been happy to just say, mate, well done. I've been so proud of you. And I'm really, really glad to say that that's exactly what has happened with you. You're like I've used the word to you in private, the blueprint of what this kind of service should look like. But in terms of the numbers, 64 workouts in 3 months,
Yeah, not bad.
23 cardios, none of them set by me, by the way. I just hasten to add. 110 personal bests,
Yeah.
23 10 rep maxes as part of those 110, 61 maximum volume, 23 maximum weight, and 4 longest time, which I guess is plank, right? Just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
plank
probably. Yeah,
each
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Now, it's very easy to just focus on the main metric that we're kind of really amazed and proud of, which is the 10 to 11 kilos of weight loss that you've had.
Well, I'm actually proud to say from this morning it's now 12 kilos.
Awesome. Love them updates. But I mean, again, I don't present this to anyone as a weight loss course. It's not that. It's like if weight loss is your goal, then it's certainly part of the outcome that you can expect. But I think the things like being able to demonstrate your increase in strength, being able to look back and objectively say, bloody hell, didn't realize I did 64 workouts in 90 days. You know what I mean? That's a significant amount of work rate, and means you're absolutely deserving and should have got the results you've got. But just in terms of like the process of you going in and logging PBs and kind of getting that instant gratification of going, oh, I've just done a little bit better than I did before. Like, what was that like? Did that help with your motivation?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, when you like finish your workout and it come up with the thumbs up, and then you have all your PVs, like you're like, oh wow, and it makes you realize how much progress you've actually made.
Yeah.
Like, because like sometimes it's really hard to see the progress until you look back on it. And reading out all their numbers, it just shows how much progress I have made in 3 months, which is
Did even as I read out them numbers there, did that make you go, oh,
yeah.
bloody
Even
hell,
then, I was like, kind of it puts it all into perspective, doesn't
yeah.
it? Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
listen, it'd be wonderful to sit here and extol the virtues of how awesome this process is and how great I am and supportive I am and how much of a awesome progress is. But with every fitness journey, there are bumps in the road that come along the way. Just kind of thinking off the top of my head, I think we had a week of illness in there somewhere.
Did that was
Kind of things like that are the sort of things that in any normal sort of journey might throw you off track if you're not getting supported and not sort of a rebound from that. Outside of that, can you think of, and I want you to answer as honestly as you can. And again, if it's you should have done this better, I'm more than happy to hear it because it helps me learn. But any other kind of real barriers or significant problems you had along the way?
I've got to be honest, Gary. I'm not just saying this. Like, generally didn't. Like, I don't think there was anything like major, to be honest. So yeah, no, I was pretty happy. Like I said, it's in regards to my motivation. That's kind of down to me as well. Like, I've got to keep that momentum up. And like you said, when you have a week of illness, it's quite easy to just say, I'll go back into old habits, never go to the gym again. But that was good that you was there to be like, I was like, right, I'll be back in the gym this weekend. You're like, excellent. But I had that accountability where.
Another big part of the process that we almost forget because even for yourself, just to explain to anyone listening, we have a weekly check-in process, right? Which is you kind of filling out a form and having an opportunity to kind of sit there in your own space, in your own time, and kind of objectively reflect on the week. And actually, week to week, we work on a traffic light system, right? So we say, red if you need me and you're in trouble, amber if you're kind of, there may be a little thing, and then there's green if you're doing all good. And I think you was like pretty predominantly green throughout the whole way process. Which, don't get me wrong, makes my life really, really easy. It absolutely makes you a pleasure to train. But the fact that you was week to week getting the results, getting the PBs in, getting the frequency of training that we'd agreed, and actually with the cardio, doing a little bit yourself, a little bit extra on top of that yourself, meant you actively, without even consciously doing it, stayed ahead of the curve the whole way through. And that kind of weekly check-in process, when people say green and they're doing okay, it makes my life really easy because I haven't got to go, oh mate, what's the problem? And like I said earlier on, we kind of tried to cover any problems as they were happening, so by the time you got round to that Saturday check-in, we could just say green and we was okay. How helpful was that in terms of like just having that extra layer of accountability on that Saturday morning and coming into that weekend?
Yeah, I think it was good because it made you reflect on the week. And like, I know one of the questions was like, what do you feel you can improve on the next week? And it really made you think like, actually, you know, as much as a lot of it is positive, there's always something you can improve on. There's always something that goes wrong. Like you didn't have enough sleep, or you've worked so much and, you know, life's got in the way. There's always something. So it just makes you reflect and think, right, what can I do a bit differently next week just to help with that progress? So.
All right, so we're going to get into some objective questions now. And again, please feel free to take your time over them and think about what you're going to say. Promise I make to people, anyone that comes into this service, is that I will leave you better than you came into this service. In what ways are you now better?
I think I'm stronger than I ever have been before. Fit, I know, like we said, the cardio side, you didn't set me any, but it just gave me that motivation to do more cardio than I was doing. I played like a 90-minute football match 2 weeks ago, which I haven't played 90 minutes in probably over a season, just because my body weight's been too high. I get exhausted quickly. So for me, that was a massive milestone. And even like, you know, my manager, my players, all my teammates have said how the difference they can see in me, which is always nice when other people can tell a difference. But yeah, just the strength side. And I think the confidence in the gym, not that I ever had a confidence issue, but I think for anyone that's like a new gym goer, it can be really anxiety inducing going into a gym for the first time, especially getting into that big weight section with all them muscular people. It can be quite daunting. But I feel like with your program, it didn't make it daunting because all the videos were there. And it just made me a lot more confident. I could pick up weights now, and even if someone was talking about me next to me, it would not faze me at all. Like I wouldn't care one bit, because I just concentrate on what I'm doing, not what everyone else is doing. So that's the important thing.
What an awesome answer that is. I mean, just in terms of and again, we've had almost zero conversations about your nutrition in depth, really, other than the idea of like, we're going to set you this amount of calories and we're just going to focus on calories and not so get worried so much about macros to give you the most sort of straightforward approach to it.
Yeah.
Did it like surprise you that that kind of almost simpler approach elicited the results that you ended up getting?
I definitely think so, because I think although like at the start, like I said, although we didn't focus on weight loss, it was still in the back of my mind that it was something I wanted to do, but I just didn't want to put that pressure on it. Like I feel like taking each step as it comes, because if you concentrate on your strength and your nutrition, sometimes it can all be a bit overwhelming and a bit too much. So I thought if I just concentrate on my strength, I'd done calorie counting before, just didn't have that accountability, so that was an issue. So I kind of had a bit of knowledge around that anyway, so I was like, I could probably really do that in the background myself, obviously with the set calories. But yeah, I feel like it was just good.
Another thing I don't want to brush upon, which is one of my favourite things about you, and I almost feel like an arsehole when I say this, because why shouldn't females play football on a regular basis? Why is it so amazing? But we was just talking about your football. Goal scored last week, right? Nicked a goal. Tell me about that. What's that? Left foot, right foot, header? What
No,
happened?
it's a right foot. I just got it laid off in the box. I played on the wing, which I've not played on the wing for, well, I've never played on the wing, but the last few weeks my man just keep putting me on the wing, which is fine. Like it is what it is. But yeah, I was in the box, I was just free, and my teammate just laid it off to me first time, straight across the keeper, left corner. So I was over the moon. I was like, because normally my goals come from either free kicks or headers. So for me to score in open play is quite rare. So yeah, well chuffed. We were still losing, but I was celebrating like we'd won the match. And everyone kept saying, Emma, we need to go again. We need to get the equaliser. I said, yeah, but I scored a goal. I'm well happy. So yeah,
we haven't really talked about that in terms of, I didn't know that you was suddenly, because you're centre half or right back.
No, it's centre midfield. So I've always
Well,
played
so like out on the wing, bit more pace about your game these days.
I don't know about pace. Like pace is always something I've struggled with, but definitely the stamina, definitely. Yeah. Like I would never have been able to do that like 6 months ago, 100%. Like if you said to me go on the wing, I'd last 5 minutes and then have to come off. But like to play 90 minutes on the wing, like is impressive for me. Like not I don't know other people do it, but for me that's a massive achievement.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's these little things that we kind of almost take for granted in things, because we focus on the big things, the weight loss, the getting stronger. But like this dates that, like, for some people it might be, oh, I fucking managed to get up the stairs without being absolutely shagged by the end of it. You know what I mean? But for you, obviously, that's a really tangible real life outcome from this process that's not something that's life or death to like your day to day, I suppose, but
Yeah,
being
yeah.
able to go, yeah, winger now, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a real fucking awesome sort of boon and positive in terms of your process. And I mean, again, long may that continue. Now, we're now exiting this process.
Yeah.
So it's it's a weird one for me because, in all honesty, when normally in my personal training career, when people leave, it tends to be like ending on a damp squib, like, oh, it just kind of dies out, or money runs out, or some of these other things. But we very much come into this with a let's get as much done as we can in the 3 months. And we've decided between us that at the end of that 3 months that because we've done so bloody well with it, that might be all you need. Um, how does this now help you and everything you've experienced over the last 3 months? I know you're not going to turn around and sit on your ass now.
Okay.
How do you feel like this helps you in terms of how you're going to train and what's going to happen with you moving forward?
Yeah, I think I just will be able to let the exercises a lot better. And it's just made me learn about different exercises, what I can substitute with other stuff. So I can change it up a bit every couple of months or month or whatever, just
Mm.
to make it a bit different.
Keep it
And
fresh. Keep it
yeah,
fresh.
keep it fresh. So I think that would definitely help me. And yeah, there's no way I'm gonna sit on my ass. Like, I'm definitely gonna be still in that gym. And yeah, just having that accountability for myself, and that's just got to continue, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't want to let me down now, do you?
I don't.
I mean, that's another thing that I kind of sometimes take for granted because in my arrogance, it's not arrogance really, but I almost kind of forget that it's not so obvious to people in the gym that this movement's the same as this movement, essentially. If you look at it and you think about the movement, that must have been a little bit of an eye-opener for you going. Oh, probably I don't have to do squats and leg press, right? Because they're like the same movements. Did that like take a little bit of pressure off of going,
Yeah,
oh, know my structure of what I need to
yeah.
do?
You could just target each muscle group rather than you just do the same muscle group all the time. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, um, I haven't got much more to ask you. With a process like this, you almost have more to talk about when there's problems and there's issues and there's we're not quite getting the level of success we expected. That I can honestly say has not been the case with you or any week in this process, and we've reviewed it pretty tightly and made sure that we're on track week to week. Um, you're an absolute credit to yourself, the work you've put in and the dedication to this process you've shown me, and the trust that you've put in myself to keep you on track and keep you supported is a real credit to you. And you deserve everything you've got out of the last 3 months. And I know it's going to hold you in sort of great stead for whatever you do moving forward. We've also talked about that we'll probably do some work again down the line. I mean, I don't know what that look like or when that'll be, but I'm pretty content in the idea that if you do need any help down the line, it'll be me that you're coming to. I would hope. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything you've done and allowing you to be open to doing things like this and all the things that I've asked of you and all the shares and all the help you've given me in this process. Mate, you've been amazing. And I don't blow smoke up your ass when I say things like like you're the example that I talk about when I want people to win in this process, and that it's so possible without swapping money for time, without like being like tied into turning up at this point and hoping that that trainer's feeling on top of the game that week. You know what I mean? Like all of these little things that that made it become less reliant on that one-to-one kind of interaction and more reliant actually on you feeling empowered and feeling confident enough to be able to go in and do the work yourself. It's absolutely what I wanted out of this process. You have been amazing. I can't thank you enough. You got any last words for your fans?
Yeah, no, I want to thank you. Obviously, I know I told you before, but thank you because like my life has changed the last 3 months, and I really appreciate it. It's the guidance I needed, and like I couldn't recommend you more. And I will still continue to recommend you, even though and I'll be back. If I need you, I'll be back. That's
Yeah,
definitely.
but if you need me, the door's always open.
Yeah,
Equally, if you don't need me, I know I've probably done a great job.
yeah.
Again, it's my ability to do a great job is reflective of your ability to feel like you can go in there and get the work done, and that's absolutely what you've done.
No. I just want to say one more thing, if that's all right. If there's anyone like that's, deciding whether to do this journey, worried about finances, I looked at it, I was spending the money on takeaways per month. So actually now, just use that money to better yourself instead. You won't regret it, honestly. It's the best decision I ever made. So
Mate,
do it.
that is a fantastic endorsement. I really appreciate you. Thanks for joining me today for this
No
short amount of time. I'm going to try and chop this down and make me sound
worries.
professional. You are going to sound awesome. And thank you for talking about
No
it.
worries. Thanks,
Dude,
Henry.
I appreciate that.
Cheers.
I'm going to stop the recording now and then we can just
Yeah,
talk.
no worries.
Just log you off. See you later. Bye.
Yeah.
How do I even do that? Recording, stop.